Listeners, followers, friends. In the late 1820s, Joseph Nicephore Niepce took what is believed to be the first photograph from his estate in the Burgundy region of France. In the late 19th century, we realised that by capturing and viewing 24 of these photographs in quick succession, the illusion of motion is created in the viewer's mind. In 1895, the Lumiere brothers used their invention, the cinematograph, and an all-in-one camera, film projector, and printer to project moving pictures to a paying audience. Thus, film was born. Over the past century, and more and more of the greatest artistic minds advanced this technology and art form to elicit all kinds of emotions from people. Love, longing, laughter, and of course, terror. Here on the Blood, Sweat and Fears podcast, we have examined many films about fears, daring to ask what scares us most. The inescapable end of our deaths in Final Destination. The uneasing vulnerability of our dreaming subconscious minds in A Nightmare on Elm Street. Or the tough questions posed by Eli Roth in Hostel. What if Eastern Europeans were real? All of these fears are valid and worth examining, but it takes a truly magnificent mind to make you realise your biggest fear is one you never knew that you had. In 2009, Dutch filmmaker and pervert Tom Six dared to ask, what if you were kidnapped by a Nazi doctor, so an ass-to-mouth with your best friend and some Japanese dude, and all shit in each other's mouths? Ladies and gentlemen, the time has finally come for the Blood, Sweat and Fears podcast to cover the Human Centipede.
Hey! Oh, God, fucking help me, please.
I don't know why I picked this. Honestly, because Dean's like, you want to do the podcast? Like, you get to pick your own film. I was like, for a laugh, I'll say The Human Centipede. I've not seen it since I was about fucking 18 for the kit. But then Dean's like, oh, that's Alan's favourite film. He's been wanting to watch that. He's been wanting to do the podcast for fucking months. He's so excited. I'm like, fuck, I need to watch that now, man. Grim, man. It's grim.
Oh, man. Well, welcome back to the Blood, Sweat and Fears podcast, everybody. Alan, I think you more or less covered the intro there. I'm nowhere near topping that, but we have an incredible guest joining us to talk The Human Centipede. I can't believe we've gotten to it this early in the podcast, but please welcome to the show. He's a very good friend and a great comedian, Iain Pringle, everybody.
Thank you. How are we doing?
Nah, not bad, man. How are you?
Good, man. I mean, I've had to watch The Human Centipede last night, but it was good, man. It was fucking. I ended up rooting for the main guy for a lot of the film, to be honest. But I don't know. Do you enjoy the film?
Well, you know what? Alan's got a habit of mentioning it in every episode. So it's like, so we were going to do this episode before the Fringe. Like, we had you booked in for it and everything. And back then I was like, okay, I better watch The Human Centipede. It takes me 3 attempts to watch it the first time.
Because you love it that much?
Well, yeah, I just had to stop and
stop for a wank.
And then we end up having to delay that because of other things that happened and whatever. So then I'm like, okay, we'll just leave that for a bit. I had to watch it again last night. Right after spending the entire day in town back at uni and then at play rehearsal, and I've not had my dinner yet, so I legitimately had to choose between my dinner or The Human Centipede last night so I could wake up on time. Because I'm committed to this podcast, I chose The Human Centipede.
A trooper.
Oh, man.
So, Alan, is it like your favourite film? Or?
No.
It's not a good film.
Honestly, it was mostly ironic, but like back when this stuff came out is when I was young and I was very into horror, like just for kind of shock value. I wasn't really into cinema as an artistic thing, and so I watched it and I thought, this isn't actually as shit, no pun intended, as like people said. And then I watched the second one about 3 times as well. You know, I've seen this film 3 times. I've never seen The Godfather.
It's long, to be fair. It's only an hour and a half. You can get through that.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. 3 times, so that's maths.
Could The Godfather be improved with The Human Centipede?
Instead of the horse's head.
It's
a fucking line of people.
Can a centipede marry a human, or does it have to be another centipede?
I'm going to say, for the sake of the bit, that it has to be another centipede.
Okay. Human Centipede has 4 tits.
Oh,
That's a fortune on bras.
I've got you some gifts, by the way.
Oh, excellent.
God.
Yes.
So we've got cans of Tennants.
I don't drink, but
Drink. What do you give it to? Give it to Dean.
Okay.
Do you drink, Dean? Here you go.
I do, yes.
Yeah, legend. I got you also, in case you didn't drink, I got you a pair. Just because I thought we should have something culinary on this show. I washed them right, but I mean they're just off a tree, so I don't know.
Can you eat pears with the skin on? Like,
Yes.
you can eat-
I've never had pears before.
That was the most autistic question I've ever heard.
Dean, would you like another one? Because then you'll have a pair.
You know what? That's probably the most whimsical thing you're going to say for this entire episode, so I'll take it. Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't drink. That's why my house is empty. There's no tenants.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I feel like am I making you relapse, or do you just not like it? Or?
Oh, no, I don't drink. I've just never drunk.
Oh, fair play to you, man. Fucking healthy bastard. I just assume anyone from Glasgow that doesn't drink drank too much, you know?
Fuck it. It's 11 in the morning, but I had to watch the Human Centipede last night instead of doing my dinner, so fuck it. Tenants and pears all round.
You get a lot of fat alcoholics, do you?
I'm sure you do.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You ever been to
Definitely.
Ibrox?
I live there.
I have no idea what to say about this movie. Usually I come into every episode with like some level of like why this film's great and the filmmaking techniques, the storytelling pattern. It was a struggle, admittedly, to come up with something for this, but you know what? I've decided on the angle of what the Human Centipede reminds me of, because I remember back in 2009 where this kind of stuff was like, it's almost like a parody of the sort of gore culture that like preceded before it. And the best way I can describe this film is it's like a creepypasta. So do you guys know what creepypasta is?
No.
So it's like, those online horror stories like the Russian sleep experiment, Slender Man,
Slender Man,
Killer. Yeah, a lot of those like stories that like sort of just exist in the dark web and the internet, designed that just completely shock you. This would be perfect on one of those. Like I could imagine just like listening to some out of work voice actor with some spooky soundtrack, and then the big twist is that they're all sewn together at the end. Like Tom Six, I don't know what you were thinking. I read that this movie was like basically made based off of a joke. They're like, what if this happened? And then they actually got a budget for it and made it, which proves rich people are fucking stupid. Like,
I mean, it wasn't very high budget, I don't think.
Nah, but it would have cost like a fair amount of like more, like at least 2 years' salary, I think would have gone on this.
I bet it's made its money back though, man, because it's like a cult
definitely.
film kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, cult classic.
I mean, the only other film that guy's made was called A Gay in Amsterdam.
I've never been to Amsterdam.
I've never seen that.
Mate, I've not seen it either, man, but I didn't have time. But I don't really know what it's about either. Maybe I should have researched that.
Again,
But I'd imagine it's about a gay in Amsterdam. But
yeah, just enjoying themselves, smoking weed and that.
yeah, eating ass. Probably similar.
So, Alan, you're taking the reins this week, man. And also, we should address this off the bat. Your shirt.
So we had a Fringe compilation, one night only at Sucky Hill Comedy Club Presents, and we called it the Human Lolcipede. Yeah, and I designed this t-shirt and I did the flyer for it. And yeah, it went really fucking well, didn't it?
Yeah, it was actually a really good show. Like, that was my first time running out of 20, but it was all done with like clipboards and stuff. But I think we managed to get a full room, mostly, and we made them laugh. Although
Exactly.
it was very funny watching the one group of old people at the back react to all of your jokes.
Yeah, they
See,
were
when you
shocked.
brought each other on, were you like linked up? Or?
No, but we should do that for when we bring it back to
Yeah, maybe
Glasgow.
for the next photo shoot, we actually should sew ourselves ass to mouth.
Look, I'm all into method acting and stuff. I stayed in character during The Wizard of Oz, and I love you, Alan, but I am not doing that.
I don't know if Kyle will be up for it.
Now,
Who
Kyle
wants to be the middle piece?
Kyle was the front on the flyer, so like I think he gets the best end of it, really.
Well, I'm behind Kyle, so I get the best end.
Oh, Jesus. And I'm right in the back there like the fucking sub I am. Jesus.
Yeah, when I was reading the IMDb trivia for this, it is mostly just facts about like how long you could survive eating feces. Like, yeah, apparently
Not long, I imagine.
realistically, the only one that could survive is the one at the front, unless you injected the other two with intravenous fluids because they wouldn't be getting enough water. So there you go.
I mean, to be fair, like a lot of it's kind of unrealistic, like because you can hear them like sort of screaming while they're stitched up, so they can hear them go, ah! But it should be like, ah! You know what I mean? It's just a bit like, it just seems like they've not really thought it through a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean?
Well, if it has one digestive tract, should like the scream from the back come out the one at the front?
How the fuck you need to be like screaming fucking loud, and it should also go through that guy's voice box as well, so it'd be like a distorted little remix.
Well, I don't know the exact science of the centipede, but I'm pretty sure it's not one digestive tract. Like, he's not actually linked their digestive systems together.
That's the whole plan. He's got one big fucking link.
Yeah, did you see it? It looked like IKEA instructions. Like, put them all together.
Aye, like he's like a surgeon, but like he's done these drawings that don't even look like fucking their arms aren't matched up and stuff like that. They're like one's bigger than the other, and you're like, fuck, you're a fucking surgeon.
That's
mate.
the one trip to IKEA you don't want Swedish meatballs for. Have you really gone to IKEA if you haven't had Swedish meatballs? I'm just trying to bring back a bit of whimsy into this episode.
Jaws bring up IKEA. To be fair, the meatballs in IKEA I think are overrated. It's just because you've just had to walk like 2 miles and then you're like, fuck, I need something to eat, you know what I mean?
Did you ever do that thing in IKEA when you were kids? Like, I was a complete menace in IKEA. Like, me and my brother would always be running around like the big warehousey bits and like trying all the bed frames and the climbing frames out, and
we what it's like to have a house.
We were absolute menaces to society back then.
So, see if one part of the human centipede touches kids, do you put the whole thing in jail?
Yeah, see, now at the start you realise it's the guy that's got the start when they stitch them all up, you realise the guy's got like the Playboy tattoo. Well, after the stitch, yeah, he's got the Playboy tattoo on his shoulder, man. See,
I mean, I don't study law anymore, but I'd imagine the court case for that would be quite funny.
Yeah.
Okay, you did study law.
I did. I don't do it anymore though, because I'm in my final year.
But not of law?
No.
What are you final year in?
It's just marketing now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I can't handle doing 2 dissertations in 1 year while balancing comedy. That will just kill me.
Yeah, but aren't they like half the size?
What's that?
Aren't they like half the size if you have to do 2 of them?
I don't think so. And,
Really?
if they are, I wish I had known that beforehand.
Yeah, I think they are.
Fuck you, people on Strathclyde.
Law's no use anyway, man. It's all about marketing these days.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Definitely. Yeah. Oh god, the marketing for this, I don't even want to know what it would have been.
Oh, I was listening to a podcast and a guy was on it. I can't remember which one, but he says that he was part of a photo shoot and like he got paid, had no idea what it was about until one day he gets off the subway in New York and sees it, and it's a poster for the Human Centipede.
Oh shit! Yeah, I mind you mentioning this in an early episode. Actually,
Really?
I'll give this one bit of credit. The poster for this is fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Like, it looks creepy. It's scary. I expected it to look shit, but it doesn't. Like, I would actually hang that up as like artwork.
I don't know what it looks like.
I'm gonna get a picture of it.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
No, I like sort of like creepy poster imagery. Like, a good horror movie poster is underrated. Like, the Exorcist poster is really simple and great. The Jaws poster, the Halloween poster.
Jaws is pretty iconic, isn't it, man? Just those big fucking jaws.
Mm-hmm. Actually, a fun fact about that's not a great white shark on the Jaws poster. It's actually a mako shark.
Oh,
and I felt lied to my whole life.
I thought it was the one for the film, no?
No, the actual shark on the poster is a mako shark, because a great white shark, if it was doing that, looks completely different. And I think they wanted to exaggerate how scary the shark was.
I like the poster where they put a scrotum on it and say Boz.
I mean, I'm moving to Australia in like 3 months, so I'm glad I didn't pick Jaws.
Are you permanently moving to Australia?
Well, I'm going for a year and I'm going to Vietnam and I'm going around Southeast Asia for a few months with my girlfriend. Not don't want people to think I'm a sex tourist or something.
So yeah, that's what the poster looks like. It's actually quite creepy looking.
It's like Slender Man or something, isn't it?
Yeah, and I really like it. Like, we'll probably I'll send a photo in later. We can just edit this on, but I mean, it'll be on the thumbnail as well.
It kind of begs the question: can the front one stand up?
Well, he does their knees, doesn't he? He takes the ligaments out, man. So.
Oh yeah, I'd imagine so, but it'd be like having the worst piles imaginable. Really, like
piles or links. But I see the fucking, like, the 2 lassies at the start, man, they're so annoying. Like, the way they speak, everything about them is so annoying. I'm like, I cannot wait to see you suffer. like the way they just, like, one of them's just like, oh, I can't find anything, so I just want to stop. And then they're just fucking constantly screaming. They're constantly saying each other's name. It's some of the worst acting I've ever seen. Obviously, it's quite hard to cast a role where half the film you're stitched to some other cunt's arse.
Actually, I read stories that like it was actually really hard to cast this movie because everyone, when they found out what it was about, just walked out of the audition room. And to be fair, I don't think that can be entirely blamed on the lasses in the film. Tom Six, I've never met you. I'm sure you're a nice person. I don't imagine you're the greatest director of actors when this is your magnum opus.
Do you reckon he watches this? Or will watch this?
You know what? This film is like, it's just cult classic-y enough, but it is low profile enough that if he did watch this, he could come after us.
He could come after you and we could end up being a human centipede.
I mean, he does say he wants to make like the ultimate human centipede film with the fourth one. He wants to link the entire world together and solve world hunger.
Aww.
Cute.
So then it'd just be constantly shitting, wouldn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because by the time it gets, that's disgusting.
I don't want.
Where do they go in the second one? Because I've only seen the first.
And the second one, it's very meta. It's set in a universe
Him trying
where
to do Scream.
It's quite yikes problematic because it's a disabled guy.
Oh god,
and
I hate this
he's
already.
a massive fan of the first film.
Oh, this is my.
And
So he sees the film.
Yes.
I thought it was like set in. He must have seen it in the papers or something. But no.
So it's like a movie within a movie
Yes.
kind of thing, like Stab in the Scream series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Falls in love with the film, kidnaps 12 people, including one of the actresses from the first one, where he's like, oh, we're going to like a fan meetup or something. She's like, oh my God, I can't wait. And then she gets put on the front so she can still talk.
Wait, is her face all fucked up?
No, because like her role is she is playing herself, the actress who was in the first Human Centipede.
Right.
It's a bit
Okay.
Yeah, that's quite clever, man.
Yeah, that's like kind of Wes Craven's new nightmarish.
Yeah.
Kind of. I dig that. That's okay. Fair enough, Tom Six. You got a bit of artistic integrity.
Did he direct the second one as well?
Yeah, he directed all three. I think I read that in the, I think it was Paisley, where they showed like the Human Centipede 2 because there weren't a lot of screenings of it. Someone shat in the cinema.
That's just Paisley for you, mate.
Yeah, but that happens a lot in the Paisley.
I bet that was at the Showcase Cinema in Paisley. I went there all the time as a kid, and it definitely has that
I used
vibe.
to like it. They've got the big fucking neon like lights and stuff like that.
It always felt like an event going to that cinema because they've got like the big fucking clipboard of all the movies outside and then all the posters. I remember going to see The Dark Knight there when I was a kid, and I was so fucking excited.
I'm sure it felt like an event when someone shat in the fucking aisle.
I don't know if there are many other cinemas in Paisley. Like, I only know of that one. Why are we talking about cinemas in this fucking thing? Oh.
When I was younger, I shit outside a cinema once because I couldn't get to a toilet quick enough. And then I passed by it the next day and it looked like one of those, like, you know how if you had like a pizza flipper, you could do that because it was sun-dried.
Oh,
I regret it.
I'm never having an antipasti again.
Did you not go in the fucking cinema for a shit?
No, because it was like midnight. And I was like on the way back from my friends and I didn't want to stink out her house, but I really should have.
Aye.
She would have forgiven you for that, I think. Other people outside the cinema probably didn't.
Oh no, it was closed. Like there was no one else around. It was very quiet.
I know, but there's probably someone who had to clean that up in the
Dean
morning.
was there first thing next morning.
Like I said, it'd been easy. You just have to go flip.
Well, I guess. Like, when did this happen?
What did you wipe
years ago.
with?
3 years ago?
That's not even that long. What did you wipe your ass with?
Oh, I ruined a pair of nickels. I was like,
Oh, man.
like that was like pre-diabetes diagnosis. If anyone wants to come for me for that again, our most popular clip on this podcast is telling me fucking, oh, don't ignore your diabetes. You can reverse it, and it's just like a bunch of people telling me.
We've had no comments about the films that we talk about, but there were at least 7 comments trying to tell Alan about his diabetes in the first clip.
How
worry.
does ingestion of feces affect diabetes?
Depends how much sugar they have.
I can't.
It's like an Edinburgh rock.
I'll have to get Daniel back. But don't worry, I'm sure I'll diabeat it.
Clipped.
Oh, that's not true, but at least I don't need to save for retirement.
It's actually quite a decent drawing, like a lot of the diagram. It looks like the diagram in the film.
I imagine you watched it with like fucking fine detail when you were drawing it out.
Wait, this is the second time I've designed a t-shirt. Like my last boyfriend said that he didn't like surprises. He wanted me to design him a t-shirt, and that would be like the surprise element. And he had 2 songs. One of them was Glasgow Speed Dating, and one of them was Is Jackie Bird Still a Thing? But I got them kind of mixed up. I thought it was Jackie Bird Speed Dating, so I made him like a t-shirt with Jackie Bird's head, which was really good, on like an actual bird's body, and she had like 2 people stuck inside her, and she was like, "Now kiss."
Oh
So,
man,
yeah, I had to get a picture of it up. I was really proud of that t-shirt.
you should just design t-shirts like alongside doing comedy. Like maybe you could get yourself on a t-shirt to like promote your first Friend show.
Maybe I wouldn't want to draw myself. I think that would make me sad.
I was trying to build you up a little bit there, buddy. Like, oh.
Thank you, Dean. And as you notice, the centipede that I drew also shares one digestive laugh. Laugh go in, laugh come out the last one.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Does it come out as a fart?
That was a way to know if they've like got one digestive tract, like, because with the first one farting, it'd come out the back one.
Oh, man, I don't want to think about that. Oh, God.
These are the tough questions Tom Six dares to ask.
Oh, man, dares to ask, literally, yes.
Do you know what I think? Because I don't know why I was rooting for the fucking villain the whole time.
It's because probably he's giving the best performance in the movie.
He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger with like a fucking Joseph Mengele vibe. He's just got that intensity, man. I'm like even when we first see him, when he turn up at his door and he just like can't believe his luck. He's just so happy. He's like, I've got one dentist there and I've got these two wee nips. He's just seeing his face. He's trying to hide the glee. He's like, just like.
Well, didn't his fucking dog, didn't he?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Did you notice the photo that he's got like on his nightstand of like 3 dogs sewn ass to mouth and got a grey foot and everything?
Well, you can't start with doing the humans straight away. You know, they don't let you loose on corpses. Like, they do
Never had animal testing.
Yeah. Yeah, like they don't let you loose on live bodies when you're a doctor until you've like gone through some of the corpses and stuff. Daniel, you can confirm that for me.
Because he's a doctor, not because he made a human centipede. Yet.
You know what? If I don't know how big this podcast is going to get, but if we got to the stage where we could make fan films and we made a fan film of the Human Centipede, I know who we're casting as the Doctor. Daniel, you're getting your first break in Hollywood, kid.
I don't know if it would have the same intensity coming from like a young Scottish man. I don't know what it is with Germans, man. Do you think German people find other German people creepy, or is it just because we've been conditioned to find them creepy?
I thought he skirted the line between camp and creepy very well.
Yeah, it was very much, it reminded me of like a Hammer horror movie villain, like the sort of Christopher Lee Dracula kind of era.
Dieter Lester, however the fuck you say it, gave this film way more than it deserved.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons.
Fair play to him. He gives a great performance.
That's one of the reasons I don't think it's
the guy who plays the Doctor.
Oh, is he in other things?
I don't know actually. Like
he's in the third one. He plays a prison warden.
Oh yeah, is it like
is the third one a film but somebody's seen the second film? Or?
I've not seen the third one. I think it's set in its own kind of reality. I have no idea.
Everyone's a human centipede.
Eric Roberts is in it. I think the guy for The Dark Knight with the grey hair. But I don't know if he's in the Centipede. But yeah, 500 prisoners sewn ass to mouth.
Yeah,
500 is that's the vibe.
Yep, you go from 3 to talk to 500.
See, that's a bit overkill, isn't it? I would have thought 25, then you've got 100 legs. That's a fucking human centipede. But 500, that's 1,000. That's 2,000 legs.
That's like a Godzilla kind of centipede. Like,
unless it's an amputee.
Oh god, that'll be what he does next, because fucking it'll be like Godzilla versus the fucking human centipede. I mean, Godzilla versus Kong wasn't great, so I mean, I'll take it.
I mean, I can't imagine a human centipede would be a great fighting fucking.
I mean, I thought that about Mothra, but turns out Mothra's actually quite cool, so I'd be willing to see it from the right director.
They could climb stuff, like, you know how like in Lord of the Rings though, when they push them up and like,
If you were going to make the funniest human centipede made up of your favourite comedians, who would be the funniest human centipede?
So who don't get to speak, so...
You know, actually, I was going to pitch to you doing a Mount Rushmore of horror movies on this podcast eventually, but now we've got to this first.
Can we have Russell Brand in the middle?
Yeah, what's the semantics for this? Are we picking like 3 of the best comedians, or like
that'd be harsh.
3 people who deserve to be in a human centipede?
The 2 at the back can still write.
Okay.
I just want, what would be the funniest to look at? So you want one person at the front who really doesn't like the 2 people behind them, who's just sitting all day at a buffet, just like scranning fucking MSG, Gilbert shit and water all day.
Gilbert Gottfried.
It's right. Godfrey. Gilbert. Is he not dead?
He is dead, but like,
aye, you could put him at the back. You need like a good shit talker at the front, man, and somebody like maybe Ralphie May's dead, but he'd be amazing. Anyone would be good in a human centipede is dead or should be.
So Russell Brand can go there. David Walliams can go there.
What's David Walliams done, by the way? I mean, without getting us with
gay face.
Gay face. Is that
he done gay face, and he gives me the creeps. Like if you watch him on game panel shows with other comedians, you can tell every cunt there fucking hates him. So I feel like he's done something. Like
Little Britain was pretty shit. Like,
Yeah. I never liked it. Like, even as a kid, when I was in that edgy phase, I was like, this is shit.
Yeah, it was like the same joke every single time. You always knew where it was going.
It's
Yeah.
mad that he's like a pure like family sort of Saturday night TV guy. He's on Britain's Got Talent and that. And you're like, you might like. I mean, I think you should really be able to make anything if it's funny. But like, that was some of the most horrific TV in the last sort of 20 years, man. Like, it's just like a woman. It's just her whole thing is like wearing. She's painted black all the time, and it's fucked up, man. It's not good.
And I've read some of his books and stuff, and they're so bad. Like,
they're not children's books.
yeah, but like I could see I can still read like Roald Dahl and like Neil Gaiman's kids books because they don't talk down to the reader.
But you write kids' books, don't you? So it's kind of
it's kind of a different thing.
Do you?
So, like, yeah, I've written books before. Yeah.
Do you think they were just for you?
I didn't know you wrote books.
Yeah.
How long have you done this podcast?
A while.
3 months. I'm sure I told you this before.
Oh, what kind?
Well, they're just like fantasy kind of stuff. You know, I wrote it like 6 years ago before I started comedy. And now that I'm a better writer, thanks to comedy, I'm going back and revisiting them.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Do you use a like author name, like the Glasgow author?
No, that was... No, that was... the name I used for that was Nolan Dean. That was the pseudonym I told you the other time.
Where did you get the name Nolan from? It's in Christopher?
Yeah, it was a mix of... No, it's actually a mix of Nolan North, the voice actor, and James Dean, the actor, because they're both my favourites in that respective field.
Which James Dean?
The actual James Dean. Not James Franco or Dane DeHaan, as much as I love them.
No, I mean, there's a porn star called James Dean.
Is there?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I did not know
He
that.
looks a lot like James Dean, to be fair.
I'm a wholesome boy. I don't watch a lot of porn, to be honest. I just find watching porn awkward.
But you watch the Human Centipede. Like,
Yeah.
I did put the Human Centipede into a porn search bar. There is not like... But yeah, it's just like rim trains.
Oh.
So, yeah, good for them.
I suppose rim trains, that's not too bad, as long as there's nothing being passed through. Rim trains are just people having a good time, isn't
A porn parody of this movie would be terrible because I don't want to see it with like a lower budget than it's already got.
2 centipedes, 1 cup.
Oh, Jesus. Ian, I'm so glad you bought these cans, mate.
My favourite part was when he's in the pool, or when the girl's in the pool.
That scene was
She
actually...
keeps trying to hide. She's like, all she does to hide is by just going underwater. It's like, you can see him, he can still see you. What you do?
That scene is legitimately terrifying. That's like a
he's
really
trying
good
close.
bit of horror.
Yeah, she ain't getting away. Oh god, well, the bit oddly that most kind of got me like all queasy was when like the thing ripped out her arm.
Oh, yeah.
And fucking blood sputters every. Oh,
Take you back to your childhood. Alan's mum was a junkie, if anything.
You know how you watch like a lot of horror movies and stuff on the TV while your mum was like that? Was the Human Centipede one of them?
that was 2019. I was 17.
Yeah, my question still stands.
Aw. No. I think I watched this with my first boyfriend actually. The one that had pulp in his cum.
Jesus Christ.
When I had what?
Pulp in his cum.
Pulp in his cum.
I hope he doesn't see this.
But like OJ.
Yeah, you know, it has
not
like wee bits in
Simpsons.
it. No.
Aye.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't have
sounds
said
like there
that.
was something wrong with him.
Maybe.
Did he get it checked or?
Well,
He's not
I
the
don't
one who
ask.
likes. He's not the one
Did
who
you ever
likes
shag him
my.
and play common people?
He's not the one who likes my thumbs, is he?
no.
But yeah, this is a weird story Alan told me. Like, apparently there's an ex of yours who gets really turned on by weird thumbs and likes watching the podcast because apparently I bend my thumbs a lot. So this is for you.
There is a woman who makes like thousands of pounds every month because she posts like her bendy thumbs on OnlyFans. How far back does your thumb go in?
Not very far, mate.
Aw.
Pretty, That's a wee bit further. A wee bit more of a...
I may have just stumbled onto a little money-making idea. I need to get my own gaff soon anyway. You know, this will pay the bills.
Make your own gas.
Gaff.
Gaff, alright, man. It's like, you're fucking out. It's getting chilly, man. I need to get some gas put in.
Speaking of gas, is the doctor in this a Nazi or is it just like
I think it's
German?
just it's heavily implied.
He's sort of meant to be Joseph Mengele, isn't he? He's called Dr. Joseph, and I think I'm guessing otherwise I'm just misled, but
Yeah, it reminds me of like, you know, Dr. Caligari and like a lot of the sort of Nazi doctor stereotype villains from like the 40s and 30s era of horror.
Sorry, that was terrible. I need to watch some 30s and 40s horror. Is it good?
Yeah, stuff like, I mean, get like the Universal monster stuff like Dracula and Frankenstein. They're all genuinely really well made films. And like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and Nosferatu are both fucking great. You can probably watch most of them for free actually, because they'll all be in the public domain.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'd be like, because they had less technology, it's probably more interesting how they'd get the frights.
Oh, definitely.
Because I find like horror, like stuff like this, like it's all right, but I find it more funny than scary. Because if you watch something that's a proper like fucking makes you jump, then it can, I think, be a lot more scary. You know what I mean?
100%. Like if I was to recommend one of those movies to start with, like from the 30s and 40s, I'd recommend The Mummy, the Boris Karloff's The Mummy. It's this is going to get me hate on the podcast, but it's one of the reasons that I cannot stand the Brendan Fraser Mummy series.
Mate, fuck off, man.
No,
that was my childhood, man. I only know really the first one, but...
Because, look, I get it, it's fine, but that is just a rip-off of Indiana Jones with mummies in it.
Yeah,
whereas,
what's wrong with that?
Because the Boris Karloff one is so much more original. Like, it's like a gothic love story with the mummy, and it's like way more creepy and like psychedelic, whereas the one with Brendan Fraser is just like, hey, Indiana Jones was successful, let's put a mummy in it. And I just find it boring.
Aww.
But it's fucking, hey, Benny, looks like I got all the horses.
I mean, Brendan Fraser did play the whale. Maybe his next role will be the Human Centipede 4.
Aww. As the whale?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, God.
I mean, he's making a renaissance and a comeback, so fuck it. Brendan, let's get you some more work, mate.
Was the whale any good? It looked too depressing for me to watch.
It's
man.
dead depressed. It is well made, but it is, you've got to be in the mood for that.
I'm never going to be in the mood for that, man. It just looked like, oh, it's going to make me so sad.
It's one of those, I wanted to watch it once. Yeah.
I saw the whale in the GFT. I was like, wow, the medals here are lovely.
The whale?
The whale.
The whale. Excuse me.
Yeah, I genuinely think like the guy who plays the Doctor deserves a bit of commendation. Like, he is a terrific villain.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, like the only part of this, like, when it comes to movies like this, it feels kind of, it's just kind of made for shock value. But like, I'll give Tom Six's credit. There are some moments of this which are genuinely, I think, great horror. So like that scene in the pool, all the stuff with her like walking around the house.
Sorry.
Even in the opening where it's that weird old guy looking at them.
Oh, I mean, that was hilarious, man.
Yeah, that's like the hitchhiker in Texas Chainsaw and like that kind of stuff.
I watched this about a week ago. What is it that happens with the guy in the car at the start?
They pull up next to him, right? The two lassies, and they're lost, and the window's down, and a guy pulls up to them like, "We've got a flat tire," and the guy's just speaking in German, but it's just said subtitles. It's like, "I have a horny video of the two." I don't know why I put an accent on. It's in subtitles. It says like, "I've got a horny video of the two of you." It's like, "Oh, your legs are wide open and wet all the time. I'm gonna come and fuck you." You know, it's just the grimmest start to a film ever. But like, it gets the point across. You know what I mean? You're in a creepy.
Lets you know what you're in for.
Aye, pretty much.
Yeah, because like we did Tusk on this previously, and that always gets compared to the Human Centipede. But I mean, I'm not going to spoil my rating ahead of this, but I would rather watch Tusk again than watch this again.
What's Tusk?
It's Kevin Smith directing. Like, I think it's Justin Long as like a podcaster, and he goes to interview this Canadian guy who then knocks him out and like sews him into a fleshy walrus kind of suit. It's when I describe it, it's weird as fuck, but you need to see it to believe it. Like, I think that's got a little bit more merit than this does, ever so slightly.
What do you think about the wee Japanese guy when he kills himself? That's like, sorry for spoilers, but
I mean, we talk spoilers on this all the
that's
time.
Fine. Aye, because like I thought, he's ready to fight the fucking main guy. It's going to be the big like centipede versus fucking villain, but then he just sort of lived a shitty life and then cuts his own throat. And you're like, what's that all about?
I reckon that's probably just Tom Six trying to be shocking again.
Do you reckon? Aye.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense in terms of the narrative in that, but I guess it's like he's pushed him down so bad and he's broken. But then maybe does he think he's God in that? I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it too much. It's quite stoned or much.
Oh god.
Maybe it was trying to be cultured by having Japanese stuff in it. I mean, it was an homage to all the weird Japanese porn that he was probably inspired by, like eel soup.
Eel soup.
Eel soup. You never heard of it?
No.
Oh, it's it's.
I want to try jellied eels though. Like, they sound nice.
Well, it's like
in the style of eel soup.
What?
In the
What
style
is
of
eel
eel soup. It's basically a Japanese girl on her back with a funnel inside of her parts and eels being poured inside her.
I thought you were
it
talking
real?
about a legitimate dish there for a minute. I am so autistic.
Wait, so they just put eels in her?
Yeah. And she's,
Is it real?
going like, ah! Yeah, I think it's real.
That's
What, did
kinda like...
Did they take them out?
And I mean, that's what happens. They take the funnel out and she just like files these fucking things out. It's been a long time since I've seen it, and it wasn't for enjoyment.
That's kind of like, have you seen A Cure for Wellness?
Yes.
They do. It's kind of a similar
was
thing.
tasteful.
Yeah.
Oh, that was creepy though. This is just Japanese.
Do you reckon, like, so now how we find Germans creepy? Do you reckon Chinese people and like people in Asia find the Japanese the way we find Germans like creepy as fuck? As a
Maybe because
people?
their porn is
When
fucking mental.
I don't know my feudal history, but don't China and Japan like historically hate each other?
Aye, so the Japanese, like World War II kind of started with Japan invading China, I think, but they did some really fucked up stuff and like it's similar to like Germans did. And also we kind of find Russians creepy. I think it's all sort of like the way your things are portrayed in media as you're grown up, like, because I bet Russians don't find Russians as creepy as we do. Germans don't find it.
Nah,
But I
Russians
wonder
are like
who
the
finds-
villains in every action movie ever. So like,
Aye, but then now they're always gangsters in films because of like the way that sort of panned out. I don't know. But what do you think? Like, do you think people see Scottish as the creepy ones anywhere?
Didn't Australians hate us for a while?
Australians hate the English.
No.
But like,
is it not
we kinda get away
Hungarians
with
for
it.
Scotland? I think CMB has a joke about that, where it's like, Hungarians take the piss out of Scottish people for being really tight with money.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to tell the joke on here because I can't tell it better than him.
To be fair, a lot of countries, that is a stereotype about Scotland that we're tight with money, and it's probably true. I don't know. Depends. Because you go abroad, I don't think Scottish people are the fucking ones making it rain, are they?
I'd rather be tight with money than tight like the people in this movie. So.
I'd rather be tight with money than I'd rather be tight with money than done the fucking Holocaust. Like,
Aye.
so we're not quite as bad as the Germans.
Oh, of course, yeah. They've done other things since, you know. we've also been involved in a lot of genocide.
Thank you for saving us there, Ian.
I just mean aesthetically, when you look at like a big fucking German guy and like the way he's dead creepy, the way Arnie's creepy and like the Terminator and stuff. The way like in loads of James Bond films, Germans and Russians, like there's just something about them. Maybe it's because we're used to seeing them grown up so much in films as the villain, or it's because, I don't know, are they just naturally creepier looking people and that's why they become Nazis? I don't know.
I reckon it's the they're playing on that fear, but they're massively exaggerating it as well. So like you brought up James Bond there, like Dr. No is kind of like that. Like he kind of plays on the whole like sort of weird mad scientist doctor thing, kind of like in this movie, but the guy who played him, Joseph Wiseman, I think his name was, just sort of exaggerates it to the point where it's like a cartoony villain, but it's still kind of scary. Whereas with this guy, it's just completely fucking scary. Like
you were talking about Indiana Jones earlier, the Raiders of the Lost Ark with the fucking Nazis and that are well creepy, man. But they're also comically creepy as well. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with a lot of the Indiana Jones villains, like in Temple of Doom, where it's like definitely not a accurate portrayal of Indian culture. But they could full on exaggerate like Mola Ram and stuff like that. You know, media has a tendency to do that in a horror situation.
One thing I really took away from the Human Centipede, so do you know how at the start of the film, up until sort of the third or the second act, you're seeing a man with a vision, and he carries out that vision, and it's quite inspiring because he had a dream. He had and he didn't just go straight in with the people. He's like, I'm going to start it off with dogs. I'm going to build myself up until I've really got this down.
He's like an open micer.
But then at the end, you get to see, people working as a team. Like, you get to see them come together. At first, it's a struggle, but then you see them, they're obviously at the end, it doesn't really work out. But for anyone, but I mean, I think it's quite it could be like a Disney movie.
Disney princesses reimagined as a human centipede.
Oh my god. I mean, they're definitely living in a whole new world now. Like,
Jesus Christ. Well, after Oppenheimer, I think it's good to see a film about, American and Japanese cooperation.
That's great. You know what, that 10, it's 11.
Thank you, though. The thought's
No
appreciated.
worries, man. Next time I'll bring you a can of Iron Brew or something.
I'm diabetic.
Iron Brew, I don't know, what do you like?
What or what?
Can you have the sugar-free one?
Probably.
Like the Iron
But
Brew
it hurts
Extra.
my throat. Like since I've come off of it, indigestion is just like gone.
This is my this will be my one hot take for this episode. Iron Brew Extra tastes better than original Iron Brew.
No, it doesn't.
Diet Iron Brew is also Diet Iron Brew is the worst. It tastes like pennies.
That's the one I normally drink, but that Iron Brew is alright.
It tastes of nothing to me. Like Iron Brew Extra actually tastes of something.
I find the sugary ones too. I had a normal Coke on the way here because I wanted to get my chemicals up, so part really good, you know what I mean? But like normally I'll drink diet because like it's just too thick and like sort of like syrupy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The original one has that kind of. It makes your teeth almost feel fizzy.
Yeah.
Like pennies. But like, so before I started comedy, I didn't hang out with a lot of straight guys. So the only...
And look at who you're doing a podcast with, mate.
But I asked my bisexual friend, I was like, you know, what does pussy taste like? And he said it tastes like salty pennies and in a glass of milk.
And castle milk it does. I wouldn't say that. It depends on the pussy, right? But so it's salty. It's definitely salty. But most bodily fluids are salty, aren't they? Unless you got diabetes.
So, what would a diabetic human centipede be like? You're the
One that can't eat sugar.
Oh man.
Yeah, or one that if you fed it sugar would be horrific for the people involved.
Could get your TLC special, my 600-pound centipede.
What actually happens when you have like too much, like your sugar levels go up or down, and when you're diabetic?
I don't know. I only test it every couple of months because it's not really at a bad point yet. Although I think I might have had it for like 10 years undiagnosed. So the fact that I still have like my eyes and my feet is a miracle. What was the question?
So how does someone respond to like having a diabetic attack or whatever? Like what happens if your levels are...
I don't know what a diabetic attack is.
I don't know what
Oh shite!
I don't really know that much about diabetes. What happens if you don't have the right levels? Would they call it hypo?
I'm not sure, but basically, if you don't lose weight and you don't like take care of yourself and like measure your sugar, you can eventually lose a foot. That happens to a lot of people. Like you'll get your leg or both legs amputated. You'll lose your vision, heart failure, that kind of thing. It's very scary.
I used to. I just finished. I'll finish next week in my job as like an advocate. Sorry to interrupt you, but there's this guy. He's a bit of a. I can't say his name or anything like that because it would be. In fact, I should probably cut this out. I'll tell you anyway. You can maybe cut it out.
You can bleep the name if
he was like, he called himself the Rat Man. He was like he's just this guy. It cuts about where I used to work. I won't say the area, but like wearing like swastikas and stuff like that because I was a mental health advocate, so you have to represent people. But he was like losing his vision because of diabetes, but he just totally blamed the Asian surgeon. I was like, nah, mate. They keep telling you it's the fucking diabetes. You need to watch your levels. He's like, I manage it my own way. You're like, oh, Jesus, mad bastard, man.
Racist or something else.
When does this go out?
It'll be probably like around October-ish time.
Oh, sweet. That'll be fine then.
You'll be in Australia surfing.
Yeah, I'll be in Vietnam, man. Not being a sex tourist. Well, I mean, I might be a bit of a sex tourist, but I won't be a.
You'd be having banh mi sandwiches. They'd make that in Vietnam, right?
Banh mi.
A banh mi, yeah.
A banh mi. What's in that?
It's like I think it's like cured pickle, carrot, radish, and then like some kind of pork thing, and then like pate or something like that. I don't know the exact recipe, but it's like sort
I heard about pate being a big thing out there.
Yeah, it's like they sell it at Peace down in Glasgow Central, so you could try one there. It probably won't be the same. I'd recommend trying one in Vietnam if you're going to.
Well, man, I'll be trying all sorts out there. Not sex tourism.
Like, I've never been to Vietnam, so like you're gonna have to send me some photos.
Well, mate, I'll put them on Instagram, make every cunt jealous so we get to.
I would love to see what the Vietnamese comedy scene's like.
I've heard it. I mean, Craig Craw was out there. Has he done this before?
He's not been on yet, but a friend of the show. He will come on at some point.
So
I don't think he's a big horror fan though.
I mean, he says there's a decent scene out there. It's mostly expats and stuff that do this English comedy, but which be fucking an audience. It'd be good. Hopefully I can get some gigs there. And there's plenty of comedy in Australia. So.
Yeah, the Australian scene is fantastic. Like, do you guys know who Neil Colhacker and like Frenchie are? I would highly recommend checking this stuff out. Like they're one of the reasons I wanted to get into comedy because I watched them a lot as teenagers. They started out as kind of sketch comics, but they're bringing a lot of their shows over to like the Glee and like Hot Water and that. Really good comedians. I'm sorry, I just wanted a little bit of wholesomeness in this episode before we go back
Plenty
to
of
talking
wholesome
about.
and fucking Human Centipede. Say they like seen it for the first time when she was younger and was like surprised at the lack of feces in the film. It's like no feces in the whole film.
Oh yeah.
You
Well,
never see
yeah,
any.
it's like
They fix it in the
It's a
well, it's like that sort of, it's scarier if you don't see it kind of thing. I hate that I'm using like a legit term here to describe it, but like the fact that you can imagine what it feels like, I think makes it more horrific.
It's
Like how you don't see the shark in Jaws, it's for half of the movie, so it's only as scary as your mind lets it to be.
Oh.
Is that why when he's whipping them, you don't see it?
I guess so, yeah.
It would probably be worse. You'd imagine, but it would be worse than it actually happens.
It's also probably the fact that Tom Six wouldn't know how to make film a whipping scene like properly. He'd probably actually be doing it.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he a predatory director? Do you know?
No, I just don't think he's a very good filmmaker. Like,
Well, you've never seen a gay in Amsterdam, mate.
that's because I've never been to Amsterdam. Look in a mirror.
Amsterdam's fucking class, man. It's such a wild city.
I should go at some point.
Aye, mate, it's like 30 quid to get there, get a fucking hostel. It's loads of fun.
Hopefully better than the hostels I've stayed in when doing gigs around the UK.
Have you done hostel on this? I've never seen that.
Yeah, we've done. Pierce Higgins came on for
I
that.
don't want to watch that film, man. Like, see, I don't really like watching stuff that, like, I don't know why I picked this, because I don't really like watching stuff that will, like, stay in my brain. But I thought, this is work.
I don't think it's as bad as you might think, actually. I was surprised. Yeah, there was like a couple of bits where it's kind of...
Yeah, like I went into it thinking this is going to be pure shock value ripping off Saw, but it actually has some really clever like moments in it.
Do you know what fucked me up recently, man? I watched Old Boy. Have you ever seen that?
The original or the remake?
I think it was. Well, it was. I think it was for 2003.
the Korean one.
Is that the original?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen that, but
Mate.
like it sounds great.
It's fucking wild, man.
Is that
Stuff like
horror?
that fucks me up way more.
I would say you could get away with doing it on a horror
Aye,
podcast.
mate, there's horror.
All
in
right,
it.
well, let's put that on the
horror
list.
elements, yeah. It's like a revenge film more, but the outcomes are horrific enough for it to be a horror film. It sat in my head way more than like this has. You know what I mean?
Plus, Asian horror's fucked up, but we need to get to it.
Oh yeah.
Like, do you watch a lot of Asian horror, right?
I watch a lot of Asian films.
You're gonna watch an eel soup.
Well, yeah, like the only Asian horror film that I can think that had a good American remake was The Ring. But like when you look at the American remakes of like The Grudge and things like that, they suck. So I'd rather watch like the original, like Japanese Grudge.
Odd enough, I didn't really like some of them. I find I usually have to dive a wee bit deeper to find the stuff I liked.
You're gonna have to send me a list because we do need to like add some more movies to our lists.
I will look into it. I did.
You mentioned some stuff by Takashi Miike as well when we started. We do need to get to that.
See, here's the thing. I genuinely think, see if you made this movie shot for shot, but it was Japanese, I think you get tons of pretentious people saying it's the best fucking thing ever.
Oh, 100%. If there's anything you can
right.
guarantee with film fans is that if specifically white film fans who love Japanese media, if you like a Japanese film director could make like the shittest thing ever and then white people would be like praising the fuck out of it
like, so
and then trying
subversive.
to remake it themselves.
Do you reckon that works like the other direction? Like, so has there ever been stuff made here that like it's just awful, and in Japan they're like fucking yes?
I do believe
They're still watching Little Britain.
not in Japan, but there was a Bollywood remake of The Fault in Our Stars that came out like a couple years ago. I've not seen it, but okay, in 2014 I was a little bit into John Green and I liked those kind of books and movies, and I cried in the theater when I watched The Fault in Our Stars. I would love to see what the Bollywood version of it looks like The Fault in Our Stars with like a 3-hour dance number halfway through for no reason.
There's a version of it set during COVID called The Fault in Our SARS.
The porn one called The Fault in Our Arse.
Like Takashi Miike made a film called Visitor Q, and it like starts off with like, have you ever had sex with your dad? And then it's just like 10 to 20 minutes of this girl just fucking her dad, and the rest of it is just as absurd and crazy. Like this old woman just like firing breast milk all over the fucking place.
The thing is, like, Old Boy has that sort of stuff in it, but it's like you don't expect it.
Yeah.
It's like he's built up a relationship with this bird for ages, and then he finds out it's like his daughter. So,
Spoilers.
But like, have you seen it? No.
No, I've not seen it.
Oh,
but
fuck,
I don't mind. Just I'll
Well,
probably
mate,
forget by the time I get around
you'd
to it.
asked me if it was the original remake. Maybe it was used. I don't know. Apologies, man. It's only a fucking small element of a very good film. It's one of the best films I've seen. But it's like that's becomes, you're waiting for like an hour and a half for that to turn up, and you're like, oh shit, if it's the first thing in the film, you're like, right, after 5 minutes you're probably going to be desensitized. You're like, I've seen this bird fucking her dad, what next?
So Alan, I've been looking forward to this segment all episode. What are your true and falses this week?
Oh fuck, I already ruined the 5th one.
Well, you can just do 4. That's fine.
No, it was a joke. It was said if I was in a Human Centipede, I would only want to be behind Kyle Samuel, and that was true. Oh well, we got 4.
Oh wait, we need someone for the front of the fucking train. Who was it?
Oh,
Bill Burr. Because he can make anything funny, man.
Can any of you do a good Bill Burr impression?
I'm not going to attempt it.
Okay. Number 1, esteemed and dead film critic Roger Ebert was so disgusted by this film that he refused to give it a rating.
True.
Who, sorry?
Roger Ebert.
True.
That is true. When shown in Toronto, a theatre had a centipede deal where if you bought 2 tickets, the third would be free.
That's got to be true, man.
I want that to be true, but that's got you written all over it.
No, that one is true.
Yes!
I think it was Toronto Underground Cinema or something. Ashley Yenny had to be offered an extra $10,000 to stay on after Akihiro Kitamura repeatedly passed wind in her face.
I'm going to say false.
Oh.
So what? So they're obviously not stitched. They're just like,
Yeah, they were wearing like a kind of rubber pants with something that you could bite on, but like you're still right next to someone's ass.
Oh, they must have been filming that for fucking ages as well. Do you know what I mean? I want to say false.
Yeah, that's false.
Just by law of averages, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because if she's actually gotten to the point where she's been cast in this film, she's not going to like be pushing her luck.
They're so desperate in their careers to do this.
I mean, I've never been cast in a film. I'd do that. You know what I mean?
Would you do? You're an actor.
I would do that film. I mean, not even an actor, but I don't think they are either. You know?
As long as I wasn't part of the Centipede, like if I just had a fun character actor part in a Human Centipede movie, I would take it.
What fun character? What, you just want to be the guy at the start, watch they shag them?
I'd like to be a guy who's like, I don't know, maybe like the doctor's assistant or something. I'm like the Igor to his Frankenstein. Like,
I can see you as an Igor, man. Little fucking creep in the background, like, what you like handing over scalpels and all that.
let's look at the plan for the Centipede over here.
Mopping up the set all day, you've been man.
Because like comedians, like I always feel comedians are best when they're smaller character actor parts.
Yeah.
Rather than like you never see a comedian be the lead in a movie that much. Like they're better as like smaller parts.
I was Tom Hanks not a comedian before as a I mean, loads of comics and then became actors and then patch comedy because acting. If they're a leading man in a film, they're probably getting millions.
Yeah, I think that's what happened to like Robin Williams and that. Like he stopped stand up.
Jim Carrey. Yeah, like, there's quite a lot of but then.
I was surprised actually that Bryan Cranston wasn't a stand-up because I thought during Malcolm in the Middle he feels like kind of Robin Williams-esque.
I mean, I'd imagine he'd be kind of funny, I guess. Mm-hmm. But is he in any films, Bryan Cranston? He done that when he was a paraplegic, didn't he?
No, he's he was in that remake of The Untouchables, I think, where he played a paraplegic. But he's always done like smaller stuff in like Godzilla and things like that. And he was going to be Lex Luthor at one point for Batman v Superman, but that never happened.
Would you rather be so you're obviously a comic, a writer and an actor and a podcaster,
right?
Which one do you want to be if you got to choose? If you're like, right, you need to be full time in this thing, you're too busy to do anything else.
Well, you need to be a good writer to be a comic. That's how I've always seen it.
Oh, mate, I'm a shit writer, but
and you need to have like, you don't need to be an actor, but you need to bring like some level of a performance to what you're doing. So like all those bits, they kind of work in tandem with each other, I think. So, but if I did have to choose one, I'm staying as a comic because I fucking love comedy.
Oh, that's right. You love that little ego boost when they'll laugh at you. Don't you? It's good.
Oh yeah. It's much better than it was in high school.
Will you be doing comedy when you're traveling?
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll be doing it in wherever it'll book me in. So if you're out there in Thailand, Bali, or Vietnam, and you book comedy nights, I'm your man. Australia, I'll be doing it. I'll do a comedy anywhere, man. I've done it in quite a few countries. It's just loads of fun, man. I'm a fucking egomaniac.
You did one in Las Vegas, didn't you?
I did one in Vegas, one in New York, one in Chicago.
Oh, I'd love to visit
Boston.
New York for a little comedy trip.
Aye, mate. It's fun. Well, I went to watch 3 different rooms in the comedy cell and seen hundreds of acts, man. Like seen like Attell and Ari Shafir and that. Fuck, a guy called Simeon Goodson was amazing. I seen Sean Patton in 3 different nights. But I'm like I was a bit of a comedy nerd before I started doing stand up. So that was like a pure dream come true. But then I got to do spots there as well and stuff, and it was fun, man. But comedy is great because you can kind of do it anywhere, and comedians are pretty similar wherever you go. They're similar people. You know what I mean?
All got something wrong with them. We've said this like every time, but I'm convinced that like every comedian, at least on the Scottish circuit, has either ADHD, autism, or something along that line.
Yeah, or something to complain about.
Yeah.
I got told I was too friendly to be autistic.
Nah, you're probably autistic. Like,
you're definitely autistic about this movie because you bring it up in every other episode.
Oh God, is the Human Centipede my special interest?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, if you were on like,
if you were Mastermind or something. I mean, they are casting for that show now, so like fucking get on that.
And the last true or false says the paintings of the conjoined twins in the flat were done by Tom Six himself.
I believe it because he didn't have anything left after the budget.
No, they're pretty. They look like real paintings, but then maybe he's an artist as well. I'm gonna go false.
That one is true. He said he
well
felt
done,
it
dude.
added to the atmosphere of the house.
It did. It worked. Yeah, did the trick. I think also the torture added to the atmosphere of the house.
Yeah, that too as well.
The basement and the guy, mainly the guy. The guy with his mad intense stares and bluntness.
Like, see, because this comes in the sort of era of horror where like that torture stuff was possible. Where would you rank this in like terms of something like Saw? Like when you're comparing it to, because it's clearly inspired by that kind of like shocky kind of horror that was very popular.
Yeah, but a lot of things like Saw and Hostel weren't actually that bad. It was more kind of a lot of people focused on the gore, and then the sequels were just kind of like
the sequels like capitalized on the gore essentially. Because the first Saw is like a really good murder mystery.
This,
whenever these films get a big budget, I think they get worse because it's like they're trying to use it to one up the previous film. Whereas if it's done with a bit of thought and sort of ingenuity in that,
I would actually love for, instead of if a horror movie gets big, rather than giving it a bigger budget, I want them to get a lower budget the next time, and then they have to be more creative.
I'm sure they must have done that with some things. Like, well, they do that with comedies. I'm sure they've done that with like American Pie and all that, or maybe not American Pie, but you see like a sequel and then it's got like different cast, like Dumb and Dumber too, but it's just like 2 different guys, and you're like, this isn't right.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Human Centipede 2 actually had a lower budget.
Did it?
Shocking.
Probably after the reviews it got. Like, can you imagine, like, because I get what you mean, like, when you see like a comedy film and it's like, oh, I really like this cast of relatively unknown actors, and then in the second one it'll be like, oh, here's the main character's cousin, fucking like John Malkovich or some shit. Like, oh, you've just increased the budget for the movie, haven't you?
Or Johnny Depp in Tusk.
Oh yeah.
Frenchman.
I mean, I think he did that just because he was friends with Kevin Smith.
Aye, some people do it because it's just like if it's one day shoot and then they're like, what's like an independent film or something like that. I think Johnny Depp just wants to go anywhere where there's cocaine.
Cannot wait to see him.
Did you see he's apparently dating the bird from Wednesday?
Not Jenna Ortega, surely.
The one that plays Wednesday is like 20.
Oh, that's creepy.
But to be fair, he was getting it with like a 40-year-old, and how did that go?
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. Jenna Ortega, you make your own decisions, but that's just creepy.
Yeah.
How old is Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp's like in his 50s.
Jesus.
Like, remember, his first role was in Nightmare on Elm Street, which was in 1984. Jenna Ortega wasn't even born yet.
Jesus.
She's younger than me, so like that's...
Was that his first role? Was he not in 21 Jump Street and stuff?
It was his first film role.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
21 Jump Street, I think, like that made him a teen star in like the 80s, and then he got Nightmare off of it.
Oh.
Then Edward Scissorhands made him a big, huge star.
And Sleepy Hollow was in that, wasn't he? That was good.
Yeah, that was, I think that was like late 90s.
Yeah.
Age gaps are mad, man. Like, because your soulmate could be a literal sperm right now. That's why I try and swallow
For legal reasons. No, they aren't. I mean, I've been single for the past 6 years and quite happy with it.
People aren't being abusive and they're like, if they're not like grooming people and stuff, then it's if there's an age gap, fair enough. If they're not doing anything illegal,
if they're not doing a Schofield, it's fine.
Yeah, or like a fucking Russell Brand,
Yeah. That's actually who the Doctor reminds me of in this movie.
Russell Brand?
No, the Philip Schofield. I could kind of see like the similarities within the face, and I could imagine Philip Schofield, if there was a British remake of this, he'd be playing the Doctor. He needs all the work he can fucking get right now. Like,
so in the remake, when he's like, feed her, and he's just like huffing a Lost Mary at the side, like, feed her.
Because I'm sure there have been plans to like someone wanted to remake this for a laugh, and I'm sure with the amount of fucking dweebs who are on film Twitter, they're probably making their own versions of the Human Centipede for a laugh with their mates.
Does that know what this is?
Pretty much, yeah.
How would you make the Human Centipede woke?
Oh, you need to have like
they consent to it right before.
Just one Asian guy and 2 women. You need at least 10 people in it just to have different groups represented.
Make sure that
They all have to consent to it beforehand.
You need to make it look like a Jolux color chart.
It's that would be the opposite direction. They all have to have the same pronouns.
Same pronouns, why? All of them.
because
Well,
you
I
can't,
suppose they're a group, aren't they? So
It's a one centipede.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
You know, they're remaking my favourite Charlton Heston film and they're ruining it with pronouns.
What?
Ben Sheeha.
Okay, that's one of your puns that can stay in. That's fine.
Do you know what I was saying about the Playboy tattoo? Now he's got the tattoo and it's on him. See, once they're all stitched up, is that all of their Playboy tattoo now?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one thing I want to clear up.
And I don't really know where we can go for favourite kill with this, because there's only really the doctor and the Japanese guy and the friend, but
I mean,
they're not particularly like, it's not like slashers where they're like memorable deaths. It's almost like, oh, your pain's finally over. So I feel weird picking a favourite
I
death
like
for
the
this.
shot in the head's pretty cool, man, when he's just falling into the pool and he's like, it's pretty sweet.
I know it's not, you don't see her die, but the girl in the middle just like left there to die with like
that's
fucking
grim.
deed people hanging on each end.
Did she die? For sure.
I mean, she's
I would
she's
imagine
dead.
so, yeah.
She's
Do you
gone.
reckon? Well, she could get out because there's like, surely there's more pulls going to come with other pulls.
Oh, I think she just looked like the Joker for the rest of her life. Like, because of the scars. Or...
Look like a lot of women in Glasgow.
Well, she never need to worry about constipation.
Oh, God.
Do you ever worry about constipation?
Nope, diabetes gives you diarrhea.
Maybe I've got diabetes then, man. Honestly, man, it's like every day.
Yeah.
Well, every day. But
Side saddle.
for up to Mate, fuck.
The communist centipede. Our diarrhea.
Are we just like pitching different centipedes now instead of a favourite kill?
See, in the Human Centipede, did they ever throw up in each other? Because you would think if you're eating shit, you're going to then throw up. They never went into that. They should have spent more time on the back and forth.
I think they go into it in the sequel.
I mean, I bet all this. It's just all just stuff he's been keeping for like, you know, we can't just, you can't like lay it all out in the.
I reckon if they did it in the
film.
first one, it'd have been unreleasable, because like this movie was, I think, banned in the UK for like a couple of years.
Was it? Was it?
Yeah, I remember reading that somewhere, that it was banned because it was like too graphic, and recently it's only recently that it's been allowed back for distribution here again.
Well, I need to look that up.
I suppose loads of shit's been banned here. Monty Python's The Life of Brian was banned in the UK.
Yeah, and like I'm sure there's other horror films that have been banned here, but like back in the day, I'm sure like The Thing or something might have been banned here. I'm probably wrong on that. Don't fact check me.
The Thing, which one was that?
That's the John Carpenter one where it's in the snow and the monster wandering around that's turning into every person in the Antarctica base. We are going to cover that on the podcast at Christmas time, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, apparently you're right. It was banned. The BBFC banned it because it glamorized violence, according to the Birmingham Mail. Which
Okay,
doesn't
that's a
sound great
stupid
source.
reason to ban it. It's a horror film. Like, I hate that whole noise. Like, fucking... horror films don't create violence. Like, I'm getting on my high horse here a little bit about it.
Yeah,
but like,
I've never seen you on a high horse, Dean.
yeah.
They don't create violence, but they do. I wouldn't they don't encourage it either. I don't know, because most people that watch horror films are quite shitebags, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Apparently, 2 was denied a classification by the BBFC as well.
Does that one get... Because I've not seen it. Does that one get worse?
Oh, far worse.
See, when
oh,
it's
it's
banned,
disgusting.
was it banned for the cinema or like from distribution? Because obviously a lot of films probably don't get put in the cinema, but then they get put out on DVD.
I'm not sure. I think they did eventually get released on DVD, but if they were banned, it might have taken a wee while.
I can't
that
imagine
probably-
this being released in the cinema.
Because I think I've seen it in like 2011, so it's probably. But then that was something people have been talking about loads. So it's obviously something that's it's banned. So that means more people watch it online because they find out it's banned.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's where like the creepypasta like comparison comes into me, because this was spread through word of mouth rather than like it being something that you went and see in the cinema.
Yeah, part 2 does. It did get a few cinema releases. Like I said, there was a guy who did a jobby in the cinema when it came out, but yeah, it's on DVD, but it's censored. There's like a couple of bits that have been cut out. I've seen it uncensored, and the stuff they cut out is fucking extreme.
I cannot wait for the 4K Blu-ray release where they've added the documentary of the making of it.
Yeah, I want to see the pus like the fucking pixel, man. Fuck that.
Man.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was actually one of the bits like see when it's just the stuff coming out our scars. It's just like that. That was because that looks kind of realistic. That you know what I mean?
100%.
In fiction.
So we've come now to my favorite part of the podcast. Boys, how many big pumpkins are we giving the Human Centipede?
What's it out of?
Out of 5.
5. Up 2, maybe 2.5 for comic value.
2.5 big pumpkins.
For Halloween, we should put like 3 pumpkins back to front.
Yeah.
Pumpkin centipede.
Yeah, I'm gutted
Peter
you're
on the
not.
front.
I'm gutted you're not going to be there for the Halloween tenants this year, Ian. But we'll take plenty of photos of that and send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were on the last one, weren't you?
I was at the last one, yeah. I don't think I dressed up though because I just did it last minute.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes what you dress does look a little bit like a Halloween costume, so you're fine. You
I was going to say you look a bit like Jesus.
Jesus.
You just put a white robe on and be racist.
We'll plug that
People
after.
think I'm the Reverend Obadiah.
We'll plug that after the rating. But for this, I am gonna give this. I think I'm similar to you. It's gonna be 2.5 for me, which is the lowest rating I've given a movie on this podcast.
Right, mate, you need to be harsher than that, bro. What other films have you done actually?
With that Tusk, Final Destination, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scream.
They're all pretty good. I mean, Tusk I've not seen. Final Destinations was good. The first one because it's like fucking just mental.
I thought Tusk was wank.
Was it?
Like, I actually think this is better.
See, that's where I'm gonna disagree with you. We're like, I like the elements of horror that are in this. I think the guy who plays the doctor is excellent. There's some really good tension and like the setting and the world building, and that's quite interesting. But it feels too much like someone trying to be shocking for the sake of it, rather than like, oh, let's actually explore the horror of what this situation would be like. And you know, I just, fair enough if that's your thing, but that's not for me.
Yeah, I'll say 3 big pumpkins.
Sean's gonna be so happy because remember the Scream episode, he was like, we were rating Scream and we're all thinking like, is this gonna be our first all the way 5-star movie? And then you said it's not the Human Centipede. And Sean's like, if you rate that 5 stars.
3, I think it's as disgusting as it is and as obvious as that he was going for shock value. I still think it's cool to explore that kind of thing, like as extreme as it is. Like, I mean, who fucking thinks, you know, being kidnapped and turned into a walrus or being fucking sewn ass to mouth is not really something you think about every day, like drowning or being set on
It's
fire.
not like the Roman Empire.
Yeah, but I don't want to completely trash it because it does have some like good legitimate bits of horror in it, you know.
Feet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually that's quite a scary line.
Oh, by the way, I need to do a shout out because today I'm going to my sister's wedding, and I told her I was doing this podcast before about the Human Centipede, and she was like, "Whenever the dinner comes out, you have to go feed." Yeah. Shout out Kirsten and Ali, congrats.
And while we're on the shout outs, because this will have been coming out in October, me and Alan are hosting the Halloween Tenants.
Oh shit.
That's right, Blood, Sweat and Fears. We are going to be hosting the Halloween night at Tenants. Come in a costume. Tickets are probably available now. We have, I don't know if I can say the headliner yet. Fuck it, I'll say it. We've got Roscoe McClelland headlining.
Yeah, he'll be great for
unless
Halloween
he
gig.
cancels halfway through this, and then we've got somebody. In that case, we've got somebody else on Roscoe McClelland's level headlining. But yeah, I reckon he'll be perfect for it. We tried to get him last year for the Halloween night, but I think he was on a holiday at the time. I really hope he brings his Roscoe McSkeleton costume back. We will both be in costume. Should we keep that a surprise, or yeah, let's keep it
Until
a
after
surprise.
Are you going to do a Halloween podcast?
We are going to do like a Halloween special. Yeah, I haven't decided what the guest is going to be yet, but it'll just be like another episode, but we'll release another one on Halloween.
Sweet.
Yeah. I mean, us doing a Halloween special of a horror movie podcast would be a bit like, okay, how do we up the ante here?
Well, you just need to decorate the gaff and that.
Pretty much. Well, I have a feeling I know which guest we're going to get for the Halloween special. I'll tell you after, but yeah. So Alan, got anything you want to plug?
Nope.
Nope.
No, just follow me on social media, Alan J Comedy, please. That'd be very nice. Thank you.
Yes, and Ian, thanks so much for coming on the pod. It's an honor to have you. I'm glad we got you before you left, and genuinely, from both of us, like, thank you so much for like all you've done for us with like comedy and that. Like Peckham's and all the nights you ran were excellent, and they really helped me get the
I'm still going to be running them trips, man. I've got a few people you're going to.
Yeah, but you're not going to be here, so it's not going to be the same.
But I'm still going to be trying to sell tickets. So can I plug them? Sorry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got Peckham's Comedy Club in Helensburgh and Hindland. They're on the second and last Sunday of the month. Merchant City Comedy in Blackfriars in the town, probably the best comedy night in Glasgow, maybe. Got Mark Jennings headlining on 1st October. That'll be after this is out, but it's on every month. It's fucking quality, amazing room for our stand-up. Bungo's Basement in Strathbungo, just near Queen's Park. That's on the first Thursday of the month. And O Comedy, which is a Japanese restaurant where you get a comedy show and Japanese food. So on the third Sunday of the month. And follow me on social media, Iain Pringle Comedy or Top Shelf Comedy Club. Do many people listen to this?
Yeah, we get a good amount of listeners.
Good stuff, man. I don't know, I've kind of jumped in with the plugs there because I was like, I'll forget everything. But I really appreciate you having me on, man. It was really fun.
Absolutely, it was great having you. And as always, you can find me at Dean T. Byrne on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. That's BEIRNE. And how is it pronounced, boys?
Byrne.
Yeah.
Oh, right, sorry.
I thought you were going to say the Glasgow Kid again. Fuck it.
That'd have been clever and funny. That's just like Burn.
Yeah, and you can follow the pod at Blood, Sweat and Fears Pod on Instagram and BS Fears Pod on Twitter, and just keep sharing the clips, keep commenting. We've got a lot of great episodes planned for the rest of the year, and I cannot wait to get around to doing them. This has been really fun. For better, like I said, for better or worse, this is going to be one of our most memorable episodes, and I think we've had a lot of good fun today.
And feel free to keep moaning at me about diabetes because it does drive up engagement.
Thanks so much, guys. See you next time.
Cheers, man.
Bye. Let's see how much of that